Is Kirby Smart the new king of college football? Or is it still Nick Saban? Obviously, Nick Saban, I believe, is the greatest college football coach of all time, and I don't think there's a question. But who's currently in charge? Who's on top of the college football world? I think it's hard to argue against it being Kirby Smart. In what they've done in the last few years at Georgia, it has been spectacular, and they finally got over the hump last year when they beat Nick Saban and the Tide in the national championship. So, who's the king of college football? I'm going to work on answering that. I'm having a feeling it's going to be Kirby. Just coming in this video, I think it's Kirby, but I'm going to look at some numbers. I'm going to look at some wins, too. Ryan Clay from Dog Post here talking about the king of college football. Make sure you are checking out Double Dogs. The link is down below. A lot of people are asking, when's it going to ship? We're going to start shipping it a little bit later in February. Not too dissimilar from last year. Look, just real brief, and then I'll move on. It takes time for us to write and put together a book and get it published and everything, and we want it to be the best product out there, the best recollection of the national championship. That's what we want from it, so that's why it takes a little bit longer than some of the other people. So thank you for being patient. Make sure you're checking that out down below. The sequel to Dogstruction, and thank you to the Red Zone. Look at this swag I got from the Red Zone. All right, this sweatshirt is sick. There's other cool stuff there. If you're in Athens, swing by. It's on Clayton Street. So I've got some stuff pulled up, and I've got finishes. And I'm just going to look at, I made a video about Kirby yesterday too, like what's the domino effect of him leaving. But this is more so just comparing what Georgia's done and comparing what Alabama's done since he left. All right, Bama. They win the whole thing. Or no, they lose. They lose the first year. They lose the national championship to Deshaun Watson the first year, so 2016. Bama loses the national championship. Georgia wins like the Liberty Bowl. Yeah, the Liberty Bowl, right, with Jacob Eason. All right, year two. Well, year two, they face off against each other. This is 2017. They face off against each other in the national championship, and Devontae Smith and Tua Tagovailoa connect on a game-winning touchdown to win the game, to win the national championship. So Bama, so far in 2 years, it's better than what Kirby and Georgia done. 18. Bama gets back to the national championship. They won that Orange Bowl, and they ended up losing to... Who did they lose to in 2018? I am blanking. Was it Clemson? Yeah, they lost to Clemson, right? Because that was Trevor's freshman year. Wow, I really blanked on that. Trevor's freshman year was 18. All right, what did Georgia do? Lost the Sugar Bowl to Texas. So far, it looks like Bama's better. Then it starts changing. Then it starts turning around a little bit. Bama, 19. Citrus Bowl win. In 19, Georgia finishes better. They win, and the Sugar Bowl. So that's better for Georgia. All right, 2020, Alabama wins the national championship. COVID year, Georgia still wins the Peach Bowl. 21, Georgia beats Alabama national championship. So then they're tied against each other in national championships. Against each other, right? They're 1-1 when they play each other in the national championship. And I can't forget that in 2018, Alabama did beat Georgia in the SEC championship. And in 21, they beat Georgia in the SEC championship. But then they beat them in the national championship. Then Georgia goes back-to-back. They win the Peach Bowl. They win, and then they destroy TCU. So when you look at the numbers, the argument is close, right? Since Kirby Smart has been at Georgia, who's the king of college football? It's between these two guys. So we're talking about since the 2016 season. This is as the first year of sample size. They both have a good argument. They both have 2 national championships in that span. Georgia's back-to-back. And they each have a national championship against each other. Who's got more New Year's 6 wins? All right. Peach, orange, peach, sugar. So that's 4 rows. 5 for Georgia in that span. Sugar, cotton, rose, orange, sugar, peach. So Alabama's got 1 more in that span. Alabama's got 1 more New Year's 6 win than Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart, it's got the back-to-back. Obviously, the best defense, right? The best defense was 21. I would argue the best offense out of these two teams was 20 Alabama. So we're playing with apples and oranges here. Head-to-head, Alabama is 3-1 or 4-1 against Georgia. So when you look at it, maybe Kirby Smart is not the king of college football quite yet. So, it's something I've talked about. I think he's currently the best coach, that Georgia's currently the best program. But when you make that argument, it is very, very recent you're saying it. You're talking about the last couple of years, right? So when you look and you break down these numbers, it's a much more interesting argument. So I came into this video with, let's see if I can convince myself that Kirby's the king of college football. I think that he's probably the answer. But even in Kirby's tenure at Georgia, Nick Saban has accomplished a little bit more in Alabama. Now, yes, and I agree, Alabama has slowly declined in a way since Kirby has left. But I think at the moment, Nick Saban is still the king of college football, not just because of legacy, but what you stack up the resumes, they're almost identical. Alabama's slightly better. The head-to-head wins is why Alabama kind of wins that argument, and more specifically Nick Saban. So head-to-head, Nick Saban, obviously. You've got the 2 SEC championships that they played against each other. Alabama won both of them. The 2 national championships against each other, they split. So there's 3, and then a regular season game they played against each other. So Alabama has won 4 of those games. Georgia's only won 1 being the big game. So it is still Nick Saban, guys. It's still Nick Saban, but Kirby is getting very close to being considered the king of college football. Maybe they just need to win 1 more. They could 3-peat, and then I have no idea what we would name the book. But again, make sure you're checking out Double Dogs. Links are down below. The Red Zone is the place to get the coolest Georgia gear. Look at this retro-looking sweatshirt that's got the national championships Georgia has on it. All right, links are down below. See you at the site, dawgpost.com. Thanks for watching.